The volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, known as VUCA world, has definitely made it hard to anticipate the challenges that will be facing businesses in the future. With an unpredictable business landscape, super-informed customers, and super-empowered employees, the tried and tested business strategies are no longer valid for today's business challenges. The future holds challenges that are unprecedentedly different. They are known to be human challenges and so require a human-centric approach to be solved. Sustain Leadership Consultancy is a tailored solutions partner with its gaze turned toward the future. Through our SEEDS model, we focus on creating people-centric strategies that will have a lasting positive impact on the organization. We work with our clients to identify disruptive solutions to their challenges, design unique customer experiences, while creating engaging workplaces for their most valuable resource, their teams. The idea behind our approach is simple. We believe that the best and most successful businesses are both human-centered and long-sighted. After all, a business culture isn't defined by its products or services, but by the people who innovate, imagine, and create for its sake. As a networked organization, we draw upon and integrate talent of recognized leaders in their fields to customize the right team for the right project. Our portfolio of 50-plus consultants have been serving happy customers in the Middle East, Europe, and Africa for more than 15 years, working with major corporations, governmental and financial institutions, NGOs, as well as SMEs. Our promise to our clients: your teams will demonstrate stronger dynamics and will be aligned around a shared vision. Your leaders will elicit entrepreneurial activity and create a culture conducive to innovation. Your organization will achieve its aspirational strategic goals and build lasting capabilities for sustainable transformations. No matter what your industry, size, or vision, we work closely with you to help you sustain your leadership and remain relevant in an ever-changing landscape. Get in touch with us and find out how you can reinvent your business model and transform into a human-centric, sustainable organization.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sustain Leadership webinar series, and thank you so much for your time and interest to join us in today's webinar. My name is Mohammed Sohail. I am the Global Client Manager for Sustain Leadership Consultancy. Sustain Leadership Consultancy is a Dubai-based organization offering support to clients in achieving and sustaining their goals by identifying their business strengths, aligning people, procedure, and the process in order to build value-driven organization and value-driven individuals. Today in this webinar, we are going to discuss a super important topic, which is exciting for everyone, and that's about storytelling for personal as well as for company brand. On the way, we will definitely listen from our speaker what is mean about personal branding and then company brand, which is a lot more familiar for everyone. I'm very much excited to welcome our speaker of today, Mayowa Adegoke. She is the award-winning international TV broadcast journalist, media trainer, public speaker, a very accomplished MC, as well as the founder of Road to Success seminar series in Dubai. Mayowa has been recognized in the top 100 list of most influential people of African descent in the year 2022. Media Personality of the Year 2021 by Love in Dubai. One of the 12 inspirational and entrepreneurial women in the UAE in year 2021 by the UAE Africa Networking Group, as well as she was the nominee for Future Africa Award in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be running this webinar for next 25 minutes, where Mayowa will be talking about the topic of today. During the session, if you will be having any question, please feel free to use the chat section, chat window, and you can throw your question. We will answer your question during or and at end of the session. Uh, the question answer session will remain 5 to 7 minutes at end of the session. End of today's this webinar, I'm hoping and I hope and feel you people will definitely learn a lot about the topic, which is storytelling for personal and company brand. I'm personally very much passionate about the topic. It's very much exciting. So without any further delay, over to you, Mayowa.
Thank you so much, Sohail. Thank you as well to Sustain Leadership, as well as my dear, dear sister, Hanan, for this opportunity to speak on your platform. Don't take it for granted. And definitely, we will have an exciting session talking about storytelling. Storytelling is as old as human time, as old as human knowledge, and as old as human existence. And we will get into the why of all that. So I'll just start sharing my screen and get into my slides. Please confirm if you can see them and we can get this started. So yes, storytelling for personal or company brand. If you're listening to this, watching this, regardless of if you're pushing a personal brand or pushing your company brand, what I'm about to share applies to you. And I do hope to get your questions so that we can engage based on your experience and what you do. So, why you should listen to me? I live, eat, and breathe storytelling. I've been a TV broadcast journalist for about 10 years now. I've interviewed well over 5,000 people in my career, and that's a mix of the highest of the highs of personalities and everyday people out in the streets, just name it. I've been there and I've done that. Now let's go into this content. My focus really is human angle, right? Human angle, which is a key part of storytelling because, hey, I don't think anybody wants to listen to AI or anything like that sharing stories. We want to hear stories from human beings who share our experience, who understand our struggle, who live and breathe like us, who can understand complex emotions. And what are the things we're going to be looking at? Importance of storytelling, identifying your brand story, as well as how to humanize your brand or company. So let's start with a simple introduction into storytelling and the keyword here being story. Here's my definition. So if you do use it, be sure to credit me. A story is not just an event, factual or imaginary, being retold. It is an experience that leaves your door wide open to receive those who walk in, ready to suspend reality or the present for a while, and in some cases, for a long time. The moment we see that a story is about to be told, the moment in which we engage in that exercise called storytelling, in that very moment, you're transported from where you are presently, your state of mind, your physical location, and you are ready to enter into that story that's being told, whether it's factual or imaginary, whether it's a news report or whether it's a movie, for instance. You're just ready to leave everything about where you are and go into that world that is being created. That is what storytelling is, and that is what stories do at the end of the day. It is up to you to make the best of this. Just imagine when children hear once upon a time, their ears perk up, they are ready to be lost in the world that you're about to create. That is exactly what storytelling does for your brand, whether you're a company or an individual or a group of people. How can you get people to readily suspend reality, readily suspend their present situation, and walk through your doors, come into your world, ready to believe what you're about to tell them, ready to go with you wherever you're taking them? That is the power of storytelling. What does storytelling do for you, for your brand, for your company? Number one, it humanizes your brand. Ultimately, storytelling is a survival skill. We have been telling stories since the beginning of our race as humankind. How do you think that we have evolved as humans? How do you think that we have become more intelligent? It is because we have been telling each other stories for the longest time. It's because as we live our experiences, we pass it on to our children and they pass it on to their children. And that's why we have such things as tradition, as culture, as religion, even. It's because for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, we have passed stories on one to another. And that's how we find ourselves where we are today. That same power of storytelling that has brought the world into different circles, whether it's religion, whether it's tradition or culture, that same power is available for you and for your company to maximize and to use. And really, there are a number of companies, even today, that we can point at and say that they are already using these power. And I'll come to those companies in just, I mean, the companies that you know actually, but I'll come to them in a short while. Still on what storytelling does for you beyond humanizing your brand and making it look more than just your social media post or your company data or your company name. It is about a bunch of humans are behind this brand, a bunch of humans are behind this company that understand my world, that understand the world we live in. So it's not just a company, it's actually people. Also promotes connectivity because people want to connect with other people. Yes, the world is becoming more tech driven. Yes, AI is going to take up a lot of things. Even my media world is threatened, but ultimately, people want to interact with other people. So, storytelling actually promotes connectivity. How can you evoke emotion? Storytelling is the way to go. How can you make people realize that your brand is the one they cannot do without? How do you appeal to their emotions, appeal to their sense of value? Storytelling is how you do that. Preserving your legacy. I mentioned religion, tradition, and culture the other time. These are legacies. How have they been preserved for thousands and thousands of years? Storytelling, that's how. You can do the same for your brand or your company. It definitely drives sales because once people are emotionally connected to your brand, once in the last point there, once they've built trust, they see that, oh, these are actually humans behind it, people who have a common idea, people who are trying to change the world, whatever it is that is your brand story, which we'll get into in a few slides now. All of these things ultimately also drive sales because once people build that loyalty, they connect with you, they understand the purpose, the vision, they identify with you, brand sales is definitely going to increase. Now, who are some of these people I talked about earlier? Some great storytellers. Hey, we are in Dubai, or I am in Dubai. I don't know where you are, but I'm in Dubai now. And Dubai is one of the biggest and greatest, and in fact, one of the most successful storytellers in the world today. How is it that people from across the globe are looking to come into Dubai to experience this city? Everybody is fascinated and awed by how the desert can become this concrete jungle that now offers a lifetime experience, not just for those who live in it, those who also visit. So Dubai is a great example of a storyteller that is selling, right? Because as I like to say, Dubai is run like a business. Dubai is selling. Classical example, the World Cup is happening in Qatar, but guess what? Dubai is packed. The hotels are packed. The flights are booked. How? Why? It's because of a story of security that's been sold, a story of luxury, a story of value for money, a story for, the evidence of human ambition, the evidence of a vision driven by a government that puts everything into that vision to make it happen. Kaby Lane, one of the greatest TikTokers that we know today, if and I think he still is the highest paid TikToker. Kaby Lane, with that simple expression, this has now become one of the highest paid TikTokers in the world. We have seen videos of how he started from nothing to where he is today. Guess what that has done for him by sharing his story? It has made people buy into his dream. The same way we talk about the American dream, we talk about the Dubai dream, there actually is a Kaby Lane dream. And that dream is one that millions of people will connect to because he's one of the poster babies and poster children of that you can make it in life. You can make it with not all the skills in the world because how do you just put your hands this way consistently and then you end up at the top of the food chain on TikTok and globally on social media? That's another great storyteller right there. Also, Sarah Blakely of Spanx. This is definitely one storyteller who has built this multi-million-dollar brand just by sharing her personal struggle of trying to find undergarments that do the work, that actually do the work. These are examples that you really need to check out. So I've talked about a city, I've mentioned a personality, right? Kaby Lane is just an individual driving his brand as an individual. I've talked about Spanx. Spanx is a company that Sarah Blakely created. And now let's talk about a movie, Black Panther, one of the greatest films of our time. Why is there such a frenzy about it? Why are people crying in the cinemas from just watching this movie? It's the story. Great storytelling. So, all of these examples that I've brought on, I want you to put yourself in those lines, right? How can you, as an individual, as a company, how can you become one of these people? How can you become someone that I get to talk about in the near future and sharing how you have used your story to reach the world, to drive your sales, to build and grow your brand, and to ultimately become legacy? So that not only are we talking about you in 2022, we're also talking about you 50 years down the line. You're free to ask a question at any point uh, if you need more clarity on anything. So, how can you identify your brand story? I've told you how important it is to tell your story. I've given you examples of people who have told their story successfully and are now cashing out. And not just about cashing out, they have built a story that everybody wants to connect to, everybody believes in, everybody replicates and sees themselves in. Some other companies globally that are telling their story successfully, we already know some of them. Apple, right? In 2007, I believe, Steve Jobs started with a story. He introduced the first iPhone by storytelling. Today, iPhones selling out left, right, and center. Still the biggest brand in that space. And it all began with great storytelling. Some others are Google, for instance. YouTube is another great one. So many. Tesla. I mean, the list is endless. Companies that are still using storytelling to sell their brands, to buy the confidence, buy the trust of their clients and consumers globally. But it's not about them, it's about you. So, how can you identify your brand story? And as difficult or as up in the air as it might sound to you right now, there are actually very simple steps to identify your brand story. The first step is to go back to your why. At the heart of every story is a character, a mission, the obstacles, the results along the way, but it all starts with your why. Why did you start your brand? Why did you start your company? What were the events that surrounded the beginning? How did you start? A lot of times we think that going fancy is the way to go. We think that showing how glamorous, how beautiful our packaging is, how well refined our business processes are, is the way to go. Sometimes you actually need to show people your behind the scenes. You want to show people how you started, how you, if you started in a garage rented somewhere, maybe you started out on the street. Perhaps that is how you started. Perhaps you started because you wanted to end world hunger. Perhaps you started because you didn't want other people to face the same challenge that you have faced. What is your why? That is an essential part of your story because you cannot manufacture it, you cannot fake it. Your why is your why. Why did you start? How did you start? This is an essential part of your brand story. And you must be willing to share because, as I said earlier, people want to connect with other people. People want to see themselves in your brand, they want to see themselves in your story. And the only way you can do that is be authentic. One of the easiest ways to tell a great story is to be authentic because you cannot manufacture authenticity. People, like, the popular word now is vibe, right? They want to do the vibe check. How do we know that your vibe is right? We only know your vibe is right because you're authentic and you're real. You're able to share your backstory, you're able to share your struggles. Also, you need to go back to your team. And when I say your team, I don't just mean your paid workers, I also mean your clients. They're an integral part of your team. The people that you hire, why did you hire them? Did you hire someone because they were so passionate, they didn't have the skills, they were ready to learn, and you gave them the chance? Guess what? That is a part of your brand story. The clients, the customers that have been with you for years, the ones who trusted you without even knowing you that much, those people are part of your brand story. And when you're thinking storytelling, because again, we'll get into how to humanize your story, how to tell your story, you need to bring all of these parts on board. How you started, where the, for instance, some people would say, oh, an apple fell from a tree, hit the man on the head, and rolled on the floor, blah, blah, blah. And that's where the Apple brand comes from. I mean, that's ridiculous, but you get what I'm trying to say. How it started, why it started, your backstory, that's an integral part of your brand story because it helps people connect with you and it shows that you're real. It shows that you're traceable and people can relate to your story. The people that have come along to help this idea materialize are also a part of that brand story. So you want to bring on your staff, you want to give them the platform as well. Share with them what working with you, working for you does for them. How does it put food at the table? How does it help them to achieve their own dreams? Because it's not just about you, the CEO or the founder, it's also about the people who come along your journey to help this idea materialize. Your clients are the people who put money down to make sure you're still in business. Some of them, you need to help them realize that they're actually a part of your story. And they wouldn't realize it until you show it to them. Some people cannot do without their coffee early in the morning. Guess what? If I'm running a coffee business, my clients, I would make them realize that they are part of my brand story. And it will bring them on board because ultimately, everybody wants to be celebrated, everybody wants to be put on a platform. So you need to bring in your clients as well and tell your story through their eyes and through their experiences. Because guess what? When other clients come, they want to see who are some of the people who are working with these guys, who are some of the people who believe in this brand. When they see other people like them, they're able to trust you even better. How to humanize your brand or company. Step one, bring humans into the various aspects and processes of your business. Yes, we're all trying to automate, we're all trying to use AI, and we're all trying to computerize and digitalize everything. But even in those processes, you want to bring in humans. One thing that I've seen recently that's really working well is how delivery companies are now using human interaction in some degree to push their automation. So you order pizza, for instance, and they tell you Your order has just been taken by XYZ. Sarah has just taken your order. Oh, the chef in the kitchen, who's Ruben, is already making your meal. Guess what? Mohammed or Prince is already taking your delivery and is on the way to you. Now I realize that, oh, this guy or lady called Gift or Prince has got my delivery and I expect my bell to ring. Ta-dum. Guess what? I can say, hi, Prince. Thank you so much for delivery. You just saved me. I was so hungry. And I'm so glad that you brought this meal on time. Those are some of the things you want to start implementing in your company. You want people to reach out to you on your website. How about you bring in a live chat box? These are simple things, but ultimately very important ways to humanize your company and your brand. Because as I said, people want to interact with people, and that has proven that it also drives sales. Audio visual is the way to go. The best medium will always be the combination of audio and video. Imagine this presentation and this talk with just the audio and not the video. It'll be great, but not so great. But when you combine the power of audio and video, you are able to grab the attention from all sides. And that's what you want to begin to do on all your platforms. Humanize your challenges and decisions. The world right now keeps talking about a recession coming and it will hit hard next year. Companies will need to take hard decisions. You will need to take hard decisions. Perhaps you need to increase your pricing. Perhaps you need to tell people why you're taking certain decisions and why it might be uncomfortable, but you need to take those decisions. Guess what? You can't just put in there, well, sorry, we've not taken this decision because we all know what's happening. How about you humanize? How about you show us those working behind the scenes that also need to feed their families, those who are helping to keep your company afloat? Humanize your challenges and your decisions because people can relate with them. If I'm having challenges in my space and I'm taking hard decisions, I can understand better when a company says, due to XYZ, we are forced to take these hard decisions. I can relate better. And so I'm able to even stick it out and say, hey, I want people I beg your pardon, to stick it out with me. And so I'll stick it out with others. Document your story. And it's very important again to use audio visual because you also want to create a content bank. We're talking about preserving your legacy. We want your company or your brand to be here for another 50, 100 years. Guess what? You need to start documenting your story today, right? And remember the guys I said you have to talk to? You have to talk to your team and you also have to talk to your clients. These are some of the ways that you can humanize your brand and tell your story ultimately. Are you ready to start storytelling? Well, I am happy to work with you. You can reach out to me via the email, the phone number, all the social media showing on the screen right now. And I'm definitely happy to discuss with you about your needs and identifying your brand story and how we can begin to push that to again drive your sales, build connectivity, preserve your legacy, and ultimately tell your success story. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to me. My name is Mayowa Adegoke. I'm a seasoned TV journalist as well as media lead at Adegoke Interactive. It's a Dubai-based media company, and we do everything media. Most importantly, we're passionate about telling stories. I do hope you've gotten exciting insight about storytelling today, and I look forward to connecting with you. Once again, thank you so much, Sohail, as well as Sustain Leadership for the platform. And that's it.
Thank you. What a wonderful and full of excitement session it was. Like I couldn't move my head for a single second during this talk. Anyone has got any questions? Please feel free to ask. Calvin, Preeti, Balaji, anyone having any question? Please feel free to ask. Mayowa is here with us.
Well, if they don't have questions, I will ask, but I'll wait.
Let's see. I believe someone will be having any question to ask. Yes, maybe our own Hanan.
Hello, Mayowa. Thank you so much. We're so happy to have you. This was an amazing session. And it could totally align with what you are saying. And I think it's still a misunderstood topic and how to tell the story that really aligns with your brand, aligns with your audience. And I particularly connected with you on the humanizing. part because I feel that it's still misperceived that when we talk about humanizing, as if we want to start making our business more like humanitarian. So I don't know how you can get make people understand that it's not that just because you're going to be more human or humanize your brand does not mean that you're not going to be profitable and you're going to be more like trying to answer everybody's desires and needs and wants and everything that they want, which sometimes is not possible. So how do you go about that?
So if I get your question correctly, is how do we make people understand that humanizing your story doesn't mean that you're going to do everything they want? Is that the question?
Correct, yes.
So humanizing your story, like I shared in a couple of slides back, it's to show that you're not just all figures and data. Figures and data are great, but remember that ultimately, let's use classic example, your nursery rhymes and the songs that we teach our children. And years later, we remember these songs and these stories. Why? It's because storytelling is an integral part of us as humans. And in fact, some have called it a survival skill. So it's not just looking at, okay, what would people think I am because I'm now humanizing my brand? It is what are the advantages for me? I mentioned examples like religion, culture, and tradition. And now don't think about any negative aspects. Think about the fact that traditions, cultures, and religion have existed for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So, how can we use that power of storytelling in our brands? If a religion has existed for 2,000 years, that is a successful brand right there. And so we want to push the narrative that storytelling is not just making your brand or company soft, because some people might consider, oh, I'm soft. But that's not it. It is building trust that ultimately leads to your sales. And as I said, you can't digitize your processes because you cannot have 100% human in business, right? You've got to digitize, you've got to use technology. But even in the use of technology, how can you bring humans on board? And how can you give a soul to your brand? Because AI cannot have a soul, but I have a soul, you have a soul, and we can connect. Let's not forget that there are complex emotions that AI will never comprehend. And they, you know what? Just give me another moment to give another example. So yesterday, and I think this will really buttress my point. Yesterday, I had an issue with my insurance. I'd gone for a procedure, a consultation, and I needed to sort out, with insurance. Next thing, I had a challenge. Now, because my husband's the one who sorted our insurance, I really didn't know anything. I just know, okay, we've got family insurance. I've got something and I'm covered. But I had an issue and I needed to address it. I was given the contact for the insurance company and I just went, hi, my name is Mayowa. I have this challenge XYZ. But guess what? It was AI driven and I was interacting with AI. I had no idea. And so AI and I began this rat race of trying to communicate. Ultimately, I guess the AI realized this person needs an agent and then said, do you want an agent? And I said, yes, please. Just give me an agent. So a human being who can understand what I am trying to say. If that option wasn't available, I would probably be looking into another insurance company right now. So these are some of the things that we can bring on board. It's a marriage of two, but let's always think, how can I drive sales? How can I preserve my legacy? How can I build trust? I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. And trust is a key word. Trust, transparency, and that connection. Because the humans will have a soul, at least in this lifetime, I feel. So yeah, totally understand. Thank you so much, Mayowa. Thank you for all the insights. Amazing.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We have got another question that's from Preeti. Let me unmute her if she can raise this question. Yes, Preeti, please go ahead to ask your question.
I can't find Pretty. Oh, she's here now.
Preeti, you are unmute. You can ask question, or do you want me to read the question you just dropped in chat box? Okay, so the question which she has, that's about, okay, maybe she's having some problem with her mic. So no problem, Preeti. I will ask the question on your behalf. That's one, do you work with the individuals, uh, how they can build or create a story around their lives? For example, she just mentioned particularly about job interview.
Definitely. So today I'm coming to you as a storyteller, but I'm also a coach, a media coach, and a public speaking coach. And at the heart, the greatest speakers are storytellers. So, yes, we can definitely work with individuals to help them craft their personal brand stories as well.
Okay, thank you. I think my mic works now. Okay.
Thanks, Pretty. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, absolutely. I'll be in touch with you just, if I need some help from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So I believe that that's all for today. Thank you once again, Mayowa, for your time, for coming, and this was such a knowledgeable session for myself at least, and I believe that same our audience they found it very valuable. To everyone, thank you for joining Sustain Leadership's this webinar today. We do run after every alternative weekend one webinar with some very hot topics of today. So please, you can become the part of our communication. You can drop us an email at consult@sustainleadership.com. So sustain-leadership.com. I'll be more than happy to get in touch, and you will receive information for all our upcoming events, face-to-face as well as webinars. You can also please go ahead and you can follow Mayowa on her LinkedIn, where she keeps on sharing some valuable tips related to all her expertise. You can follow her on Instagram also. Recording of today's this session will be available in next 2 days on our YouTube channel, and all the audience who registered themselves, they will receive an email with the link. So till I receive you and see you guys back in our next webinar, thank you once again on behalf of Sustain Leadership, myself, as well as our speaker. We will see you in next session. Have a lovely day, afternoon, evening, or it could be a good night for you. Bye.